to our last and final speaker, our closing keynote speaker for today, Mr. Rohit Ohri, Executive Chairman and CEO, FCB Group, India. Mr. Ohri features amongst Brand Equity's top 10 most influential leaders in Indian advertising. He was also named India's most inspirational leader in advertising by WCRC. Most recently, he was named Influential Leaders of New India 2021 by CNN News 18 and recognized as India's Best 50 Marketing and Communication Leaders 2021 by White Page International, a global marketing consultancy firm. So please, welcome on stage. We are eagerly waiting to listen to you. Thank you.
Not sure. Oh, okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Obijda has just left. Being the last speaker in a conference which is so focused on one topic is like the analogy that he drew earlier, which is that, how do you woo a girl? But here, a lady or a gentleman, right, Anup? So here the woman has been wooed, or the gentleman has been wooed, married, and has a few children already. So I've clearly missed the bus. But, a lot of it is repetition. I think you've heard it over the entire day today. So I'm not going to kind of waste your time, repeating all that. But very clearly, I'd just go quickly over the piece and perhaps give back some of the time to Bengal Chamber. So that, we are running over time. So is the future only D2C? And that's the question I wanted to ask. Lloyd just talked about the future is D2C. So what we're seeing is, of course, there's massive growth. And one of the things we've seen everybody talk about is that it's not only just direct-to-consumer brands, it's also traditional brands which are actually looking at D2C. And that's really the important piece here. It's no longer the purview and can be, the core capability of just digital native brands only. So D2C is capturing a greater share of the consumer wallet, and really, are you ready for it? Now, you've seen lots of figures being bandied about how big this is going to be, how big the e-commerce piece is. The only thing I wanted to actually say was, and perhaps an interesting difference, is that is all online D2C? In my opinion, no, it is not. Because all online is, D2C is a segment of all online, because online is where you float, a product or a brand online and hope it goes and lands somewhere and somebody buys it, versus D2C is really about knowing, understanding your consumer and really building on that knowledge and creating what the topic here today is connected, closer and cozier. That fundamentally, when you're connected, closer and cozier, is, in my opinion, D2C. So consumers want to shop directly and businesses want to sell directly. So the beauty of it is that it's a marriage made in heaven, and there can be no better, connection here between what consumers want to buy and what manufacturers and businesses want to sell. So when you look at consumers wanting to shop directly, convenience, personalized experience, purpose, right? These are the important pieces of the whole mix of why they really want to shop directly. Convenience, we all know, we've spoken about that. It's easy to get in. The interesting part here is that consumers are willing to pay more for the convenience of and especially in the direct to consumer shopper, very much willing to pay for convenience, personalized experience, willing to pay more for that personalized experience. So that's a value that you can add and bring in. And when you say personalized experience is really, Lloyd has spoken about it. We've heard Somaran talk about it as well. The whole thing of, being able to influence what the product is really going to be. We work with Reliance, and Reliance was really talking about this whole thing of when they're actually now creating almost a direct-to-consumer channel as part of their entire ecosystem. They're actually going to manufacturers and specifying what product they want to put into that. So what size, what SKU, which product, what flavors, etc. All those are being actually recreated. And purpose. Now, purpose, is a much abused term where people talk about purpose as it's not just about what you do for the environment, what you do for society. Purpose is what do you do for the consumer, right? How do you improve? How do you bring convenience? How do you bring value into his or her life? And that, I think, is really the fundamental thing. Like if you look at Just My Roots, the purpose of the brand is really to bring your food memory to you wherever you are, right? So that whole thing of holding that purpose and being true to that purpose is really what D2C consumers really want. And 86% of shoppers actually say they're willing to pay for it. So they're using new technologies, localization, value. These are all different reasons and how consumers are interacting with D2C brands, right? So, and they're willing to pay for these experiences and this value. Businesses also want to sell direct. This piece Lloyd has talked about, I'm not going to repeat it, but it's just about getting to market faster, getting better access to consumer data, and of course, control the entire consumer experience. I think fundamentally, in my opinion, the heart of D2C is really being able to control the entire consumer experience end to end. And if you can do that in a way that speaks true to what the brand stands for, what's the brand purpose, what is the brand's world in which the brand is operating, and you can do that in a seamless manner, I think that fundamentally is the foundation of what D2C brands really are. And of course, improve their margin by going direct. So the heart of D2C, in my opinion, is consumer engagement. The best D2C experiences are created by brands that capture the data of various channels and put them in a dynamic. So they have a holistic view of the consumer, not a unidimensional, but a complete view. And if you look at a 360 view, it's all about every single element that the consumer is actually going. Is that what pages are the consumer browsing? What is the social conversation? What is the campaign activity? How did the user react to digital campaign? What did he say at the CR? What did he have a complaint? What was the conversation between the user and the customer service team? What are the demographics that you use, other filters to look at? And mobile apps and IoT, what really are the other platforms that the consumer is engaging in? But fundamentally, the one thought that I want to leave you with is that to connect closer and cozier, we need to power humanity with data and technology. It's not the other way. It's not about data and technology dominating, you have the data and you will use it in whichever way you want to do it. But fundamentally, it's about understanding what is the human need. And I think, when you hear the Just My Roots story, right? That fulfillment of a human need, right? That fulfillment has a particular joy that cannot be replicated anyway. You may have the data, you may know that, okay, X person's kid is in a different city, but what that person really wants, and to make that happen, really is about using the power of humanity, about human impact, and really powering it with data and technology. So the key D2C challenges, and as we see perhaps the important piece here is that looking at the addressable market, right? Because D2C propositions face limitations to reach offline consumers. And if you see a lot of the D2C brands which started off, if you look at Pepper Fry, for instance, and many others have started offline stores as well, right? So this whole omni-channel and being present in multi-channels is really perhaps the most important thing. And sometimes when categories they have low penetration, it always becomes a challenge to look at the addressable market size, and eventually all online brands, D2C brands which are using primarily online come offline as well to really expand the customer base. Customer retention, and we saw a lot of that conversation as well, where we were talking about this whole thing of, with competition, and this is a evolved consumer, with competition and, options really there, customers are moving fast from one brand to the other. So the rising cost of customer acquisition underscores the importance of returning consumers. So that brings back to the point that I was talking about earlier, really about understanding what is that human need that you're serving and how do you satisfy that in a way that customers keep coming back. Lifetime value, that's the other thing. We need to boost lifetime value through strategies like brand building, subscriptions, new product developments, etc. And of course, personalization and loyalty support. Those are the important pieces. The other piece is really about customer, acquisition cost and customer lifetime value, right? So as the important piece in this is recognizing that difference and really focusing on the lifetime value. So, despite growing customer, the high cost of customer acquisition, growing customer lifetime value is really, really important. And that is something that the D2C brands often struggle with, because the cost of customer acquisition actually goes up as they penetrate, deeper and deeper into that very limited customers base. So, traditional and new marketing channels are necessary really to maintain these margins. So finally, the do's and don'ts of D2C, what we're saying is do differentiate. And the important piece here is that a lot of direct-to-consumer brands start off by differentiating only on the price, right? Saying that we could come to you, why are you paying this price for established brand? I'm breaking the model. I'm saving cost by actually, eliminating the middleman. So here it is, at a much cheaper price. And we've seen many of those, the Dollar Shave Club, etc., globally use that. But the whole thing is that differentiation really has to be looked at in a way that is long-term and sustainable. It cannot be about just the price value that you're giving, because over a period of time, there'll be other people who are giving it at that same price. So what is it, even as a D2C brand, you would create as a differentiation, as a distinctiveness in the marketplace? And really about investing with a view to think long-term. So those two pieces are really important, and they go hand in hand. And using data, I think Lloyd talked about it. The whole thing is that you have data at your hand. You have to use it wisely, right? You have to use it, and the point that I was saying, understand the consumer, use the data with humanity, right? So that the person knows but you don't overstep that line. It's like a human relationship. It's like a friendship that you have with people. You never overstep and be intrusive. And the important piece is don't stop innovating. I think we've had so many examples today, about continuous innovation, so whether it is the Chinese cuisine, and then it's about Mughlai, and then it's about Bengali fusion. So there is a constant innovation. There's a never finished attitude, right? So It's not that we are finished. We are constantly innovating. And the whole thing is about not losing focus. I saw this movie, it's just a new movie, it's come in here, and it's pretty much like your story, right? It's about really, the startup brings mothers' food to home cooked food to a whole host of bachelors started off in Mumbai city. And as investors like Lloyd get into the mix, they push for quicker returns, right? And they push, so instead of, a whole host of mums, they actually moved to a cloud kitchen. And that destroyed the model completely, because at the end of it, the purpose of the brand was really about bringing mothers homemade, home-cooked food to young men and women, not their own mother, but any mothers, just the feeling and the joy of eating home-cooked meals. And losing focus of that really actually destroyed the brand completely, and that over ambitious plans to deliver shareholder value, in a very short period of time. And the whole thing is don't waste resources. The whole thing is how asset heavy or how asset light you want to be really depends on how the business is evolving over a period of time, and how you want to look at that from a continuous perspective. So I did that really fast, so I think you, if not anything, you should give me points for a short and sweet presentation. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them. I know we've discussed D2C bear now. Everybody is tired of D2C. So, yeah.
Sorry, this is more related to FCB actually, So you have been legacy in terms of doing some big brands, large brands, doing it in the legacy ways. How are you guys changing? What's your plan in the D2C world?
So, the interesting part of it is, like, for instance, I was just talking to somebody this morning, and what we're really proud of is, 7 of our top 10 clients actually have worked with us for over 4 decades, right? And the fact is, one of our single largest brand is Amul, right? At 75,000 crores, it's twice the size of Unilever in India, right? And their ambition is 1 lakh crores by 2024. They're going to be the world's largest FMCG company. So the interesting part is, this hasn't come from no evolution piece, right? So it is about evolving communication channels, because unless you are with the way the market is flowing, right, where the consumers are going, right? Without that, really this doesn't happen. What I feel is, and perhaps this is a big testimony to our Indian companies, is the speed of innovation, the lack of very complex internal structures actually enables them and powers them to deliver in the Indian market today in a faster, better way, because our consumers have evolved a lot, right? So from 30 minutes to 20 minutes to 10 minutes to blink it, right? So the whole thing is that how fast you're changing and evolving to that is really important. So what we are doing with a lot of our clients is, like, to continue the Amul example, is really about looking at how we can build within their structure a whole ecosystem of direct to consumer. Do you know they have over maybe 1,200 brands? You may not have heard of some of these brands, right? So there is a particular variety that they create of Shrikhand, which is available only to a select audience in in Mumbai, right? So there are certain pockets that they've created where they're able to kind of customize and produce products like that. These are not available to everybody. I mean, nobody's seen these products across all over India, but very clearly they've picked up local, insights and looking at what they can do with milk in a way that can actually cater to the different tastes of India in different ways. And these are actually then marketed in a very micro marketed way. You don't see ads on television for these at all. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. By now I figured the drill.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure listening to you. I would now like to welcome Mr. Mahesh Motwani, Executive Vice President, Initiative Media, and a member of the Marketing and Brand Committee of the Bengal Chamber, to hand over the mementos to sir.